One of my Twitter followers tagged me in this particular post involving Lance Armstrong. Now, this is a guy that for many years won all those Tour de France cycling competitions and everything of that nature. And like the guy was seemingly good. And I use the word seemingly because he wasn't all he was cracked up to be. Now, while all these other bikers or cyclists who were a part of the competition did everything the right way, this guy was winning the wrong way. The way he was winning was because he got discovered that he was using illegal substances to increase his, how can I put it, his endurance. I think that's the best word to use. His endurance while in these competitions. Now, these competitions that he would be a part of, those laps that they would have to do were intense. I remember watching the 2016 Summer Olympics, and it was one particular one where that particular lap had to be over an hour long. And just seeing them do that, like I take my hat off to them because I couldn't do it. Not to say I couldn't ride a bike for a long period of time, but that was a bit extreme. And you train for months and years for just one day in hopes that you come in first place, in which he got in first place a lot until it got discovered that he was using doping agents, and that's when he got his medals stripped away from him, which is rightfully so. Yet they'll put a lot of other black athletes under a microscope and cause them to get all kinds of uh, drug tests and all kinds of stuff. Serena Williams knows all about that. But anyway, the reason why I'm talking about Lance Armstrong right now is because of this article that was sent to me where it said that he's being poised to become a billionaire. Now, he's not poised to become a billionaire from his cycling days. That's dead in the water. That's not happening. He's poised to become a billionaire because I'm guessing he took whatever he had left and he put it into Uber, the company Uber. And now it's said that he's going to most likely become a billionaire from that. Now, we haven't heard from Lance Armstrong since that whole scandal came out and he lost all his medals. Now he's being brought back up because of that. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up this story is because whenever a white person can do something like what he did, which was cheat, because technically, like, let's be real here, he cheated. Whenever a white person does this and they're cheating, they are allowed to make a comeback. They are allowed to bounce back from whatever fall from grace they were currently sitting on. But a black person, if they mess up even one time, that's it. They will destroy you. Look at what happened with Janet Jackson in the Super Bowl incident back in 2004. Janet Jackson was a bigger star than Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake was just hitting the solo circuit after being with NSYNC for years. And that one incident right there ruined her career. It pretty much put it in a pause, like in a stall position. And you can thank Les Moonves mostly for that as well, because you saw the video I did about him and how he pretty much controlled the way that her career went after that happened. But he didn't control the way Justin's career went after that either, because he was just as responsible, because he was the one that pulled off her top and exposed her breast to the world. But she had to work hard to rebuild back up to where she is now. And they didn't care that her last name was Jackson or that her brother was Michael Jackson. Because at the end of the day, they still had the connections to make sure that they could take her down. Now, another reason I bring this up is because recently I had saw a picture of Amanda Bynes. And you all know who she is. She was a former Nickelodeon star. And she fell into the same trap as Lindsay Lohan did. She started hanging out with the wrong people. She started doing drugs and all types of stuff. And it kind of shocked me because it's like I thought Amanda Bynes was more the low-key version of her. She wasn't out there like Lindsay. But recently she was on a magazine cover and they're basically saying they're preparing for a comeback for Amanda Bynes. Like I guess she went to rehab. We hadn't seen her in probably about a good 5 years. The last time we saw her, she looked strung the fuck out in the courtroom. And now they cleaned her up. I guess she went to rehab, and now she's trying to repair the pieces of her career that fell off all those years ago. But I'm saying this because white people, whenever they do something like this, like drugs, or in his case, he used drugs and he cheated, they are allowed to make a comeback. And then what's going to end up happening is they're going to try to push them so far that they'll hope people forget what caused them to take that fall. But with a black person or a black celebrity or whatever, they'll hold them under a microscope forever, and they will make sure that blemish stays there forever. Look at Chris Brown. Chris Brown is like the ultimate example of this. He had that one incident with Rihanna, and his life has never been the same since. And that happened back in, I want to say 2008, and it's now 2018, 10 years ago. And they're still talking about it, and they refused to mention the role she played in it. And I believe someone was telling me that there was a documentary about Chris Brown. I think it's on Netflix, and he was talking about what she did the night in that car, but they kept focusing on what he did. He was basically explaining in the narrative that she was the one that kickstarted it off, and he had to defend himself. Her own dad even threw, now I'm not going to say throw her under the bus, but even said some things about his daughter and saying that she has a bit of a violent streak. But they didn't listen to that. They only focused on her, mainly because TMZ got a hold of that picture and they put it out there before his side of the story could ever come out. So they all basically felt sympathy for her and nothing for him. Notice every time whenever they mention Chris Brown, they always have to say something about him being a woman beater. Always. One person I can say that actually slipped through the cracks after falling through multiple scandals would have to be Michael Jackson. I don't think anybody was in the scandal spotlight that much except him. He went through so many scandals throughout the adult portion of his career, probably post bad era, and he still managed to maintain his level of fame, and he just became even more famous, and I think they hated that. But I don't think I've seen a black person since who's in the entertainment industry really do that since him. There may be some others, but he really stands out. But yeah, they're trying to clean up Lance Armstrong's image. They're trying to remove the whole he did dope, he cheated, the Tour de France, all of that. They're trying to remove that blemish off of his record and trying to work this out. But this also says a lot about Uber, because that shows right there that they will take a person who has known to cheat to win in order to work with him. Let me see. It's some things in here they're talking about, like the funds and everything like that. It says Lance Armstrong, now age 47, reached a $5 million settlement with the U.S. federal government in April, when they could have sought up to $100 million if the suit went to trial. And I'm guessing they're talking about when the whole Tour de France thing came out. Like, they was ready to take his ass to the cleaners because of that. They were ready to get rid of him. Like, they were ready to end him. But they said with a little bit of luck, he got in contact with an investor over at Google, and there's that. So he became lucky. But they was ready to clean him out. But that's really all I had to say about this. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. I definitely think I hit on some key points. And like I said, and to summarize it all up, they are allowed to recover and bounce back from a scandal, no matter how big or small the scandal is. But his was a pretty big one. Like, it made international news. And, we are not. Even for the smallest things, they will bury us. Ray Rice, we know what's happened with him. Bill Cosby, more recent. Kareem Hunt, Nate Parker, a host of others can fall into this category, because they have to make it seem like they basically lay out these ground rules for us that we have to be the picture perfect person, and there's no such thing as that. but they are allowed to break every rule in their book. But then again, it doesn't surprise me because they wrote the book. So the writer of the book can do whatever the hell they want, but when they have it set for a certain character, we have to follow the rules, no matter how silly the rules are. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. The links will be in the description. I'll talk to you in the next one.